block between the shins. And what we're gonna try to do is just find the activation of the adductors in two ways. Squeezing side to side, but a little bit of internal rotation. So like instead of like your thighs turned out like this, most of us tend to be chronically rotated out. So you're gonna rotate the thighs in and squeeze the block with your shins. So a little rotation in, squeeze in. Now lift the left leg without bending the knees if possible. I bent for a moment, that's okay if you do, but then straighten it out and squeeze the block with both shins. The left foot is currently off the ground. Okay, squeezing, 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 and then slowly transition, left foot on the ground, right foot lifts up, squeeze the block with the front of your shin on the right side. So you feel the inner thigh muscles, the adductors activating here. And then switch back to the right, squeeze the left leg in, and we have gracilis, the longest one. Goes from the pubic bone all the way to below the knee onto the shin. A lot of people have issues with that when they're doing things like triangle pose. And then let's go back to the left foot, squeeze right leg in. So I'm shaking a little bit from the activation. Hopefully you are too. That's your muscles trying to find the activation. What you're gonna do is you can kind of just put your hand underneath the blocks, make sure they don't fall, or at least it slows them down. And you're gonna squeeze the shin or thigh, in this case, into the wall. So I'm squeezing my left leg into the wall until I'm getting tired. And squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Okay, and then remove. Okay, next exercise at the wall, exactly the same thing. We're gonna work the hip flexors as well a little bit here. Squeeze the blocks into the wall, and then as you squeeze the blocks into the wall, you can straighten and bend the knee. We're gonna come to the forearm of the right leg, and we have a couple of ways of doing this, but we're essentially gonna do forearm inside plank. Inside plank meaning the inside of the legs will be working. So let's do this. Lift your hips up, back inner thigh, active to lift the hips up, and then lift the right leg up, lower it, tap, tap, lift it, tap, lift it, hold, hips up, hips up, hips up, and release down. You stand with your foot on the side of the mat, and you take a very short warrior two, and then you squeeze your legs toward each other to bring the legs together. Essentially, you're using your adductors. Okay, so my front leg's in warrior two position, back leg slightly turned in, and I squeeze. Now, if you're finding it's too hard to do that, one, take a shorter stance. Two, put more weight forward in your front leg. It'll be less adductor heavy, okay, and make it easier for you. Those of you that want a little bit of a challenge, you never go straight to a warrior two, as in that's gonna be way too intense on the adductors and might even strain the knee. I'm just gonna do more repetitions of squeezing the legs toward each other, and turning the back thigh in a little bit will help. Squeezing both legs toward each other to create the action.